Picture a circus trapeze artist, high up under the big top, chalk on their hands, swinging over the crowd.
Right. It's a terrifying image, honestly.
Yeah. And usually, when we think about what keeps that performer safe, our eyes naturally go down. We look at that massive woven safety net stretched out right above the sawdust. And the immediate thought is, well, that's the most important piece of equipment in the room. I mean, if they fall, they won't break.
It is the ultimate guarantee of survival. You know,
Yeah.
you hit the net, you bounce back, you live to see another day. And we spend an enormous amount of energy in our own lives trying to weave that exact same net.
We really do. But if you step back and actually watch the mechanics of the performance, you notice this massive structural illusion.
Right.
The net doesn't actually help the acrobat reach the next platform. It just keeps them from hitting the floor. It stops the descent, but it provides absolutely zero upward trajectory. And that difference, between being caught when you fall and being actively propelled forward, it fundamentally shifts how we understand success, drive, and, well, even human relationships.
Because we are talking about two entirely distinct forces that dictate the course of a life.
Yeah.
On one side, you have the safety net, someone or something to catch you. And on the other side, you have upward momentum, a force pushing you to the next level.
Right.
And confusing the two is incredibly common and honestly, incredibly dangerous.
It is. So welcome to today's deep dive. I am so glad you were here with us because today we are pulling apart the psychology behind these two forces.
It's a fascinating topic.
Okay, let's unpack this. We're looking at why having a comfortable foundation might actually be functioning as a concrete ceiling for you, and why lacking one, which, let's face it, sounds terrifying.
Absolutely terrifying.
Right, why lacking one might actually be your greatest superpower. We are going to explore this through the lens of parasitic survival versus self-directed investment.
And to really understand how upward momentum works, we have to start by looking at what happens to a human being when they are only kept from falling.
Right, which brings us to our first profile.
Yeah, let's call him Zhang San. He is a fascinating case study in the paralysis of security.
So let's look at Zhang San's reality. He has a massive, undeniable safety net. His parents, who are small town teachers, they will never let him starve. And his grandparents absolutely spoil him.
Right. The source material actually notes that his entire mindset operates on the assumption that his grandparents will just, cover his life path.
Exactly. He has a bed to sleep in, food on the table, and total protection from making any fatal life mistakes. I mean, he is permanently caught.
Insulated from failure, but entirely isolated from success.
Oh, isolated from success. Yeah, because he has zero upward momentum.
None.
Think about his actual resources. He has no connections to big tech HR departments, no built-in city network. He's a guy who couldn't even tell you which way the door faces at Nanjing University's AI school. He is completely disconnected from the actual engines of upward mobility.
Yeah, it's like he's existing in a bubble.
It makes me think of playing a massive open world video game where you've somehow turned on God mode.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
Right. Your character physically cannot die. You can jump off a cliff, you just bounce. But you also have no map, you have no weapons, and you have no gear to actually level up.
You're invincible, but you're perpetually stuck at level 1.
Exactly. So if you can't level up on your own, what's a player's natural instinct?
Well, what's fascinating here is that if you are physically safe, but socially and intellectually stagnant, a very specific behavioral mutation occurs.
Okay.
Because Zhang San cannot lift himself, his natural instinct isn't to start grinding, putting in the thousands of hours to build skills.
Right, because why would he? He's not afraid of starving.
Exactly. His instinct is to find someone else's elevator and sneak inside.
Man. I mean, if I'm stuck at level 1 and I see someone soaring past me and I don't want to do the work, my instinct is absolutely going to be to try and hitch a ride.
Yeah.
I'm going to look for a shortcut.
But hitching a ride implies a temporary arrangement between two independent travelers.
Oh, right.
That is not what is happening here. Zhang San isn't looking for a mentor. He isn't looking for an opportunity to be lifted so he can eventually learn to fly himself.
Right.
He is looking for a host. His entire operational mode is parasitic survival.
Let's pause on that word, parasitic. Because in biology, a parasite doesn't just hitch a ride. It attaches to the host's circulatory system.
Yes.
It draws nutrients directly from the host's momentum while contributing, well, absolutely nothing to the organism's survival.
That is the exact dynamic.
Yeah.
When you have a safety net but no momentum, and you lack the internal drive to create that momentum, your only way up is to attach yourself to someone else's upward trajectory.
Wow.
In Zhang San's case, he actively hunts for what the source calls a provincial capital sister.
Okay, what does that mean exactly?
It means someone already established, someone who has the city access, the apartment, the resources he lacks. And he relies entirely on deceit and pretending to wedge his way into her life.
So he's seeking a host organism to feed off of.
Precisely.
That is deeply unsettling, but I guess it logically tracks. If someone is that desperate to attach to another person's momentum, what does the ideal victim even look like?
Right, because you can't just attach to anyone.
Right, because a biological parasite doesn't attach to a highly active, aggressive host that's going to notice it and, shake it off.
No, it looks for something stationary.
Something numb. Which brings up this incredibly specific demographic of young, comfortable, but totally directionless people.
Yes. Let's call our second persona 045. She represents the ultimate vulnerability of the modern middle class.
So let's map out her situation. She is a 28-year-old with a master's degree, and she has what almost anyone would consider the absolute dream financial safety net.
Oh.
Her parents bought her a house in full in a major city.
No mortgage.
Right. She pays absolutely zero rent. If she fails her civil service exams, she doesn't face homelessness. She can afford to just completely lie flat, just check out of the rat race entirely.
She has solved the baseline puzzle of survival.
But just like Zhang San, she has zero upward momentum.
Yeah.
She's unemployed. She spends her days endlessly scrolling, searching for a partner on the social app Shahamshu.
Right.
She has no one paving the way for her, no one pushing her forward. Her life map is totally blank. She is secure, but she's completely confused.
And when your basic needs are met, but your psychological and directional needs are entirely unmapped, you enter a state of extreme passivity.
Okay, but I have to play devil's advocate here. I want to push back hard on this idea that she is inherently vulnerable.
Go for it.
Look at her on paper. She has a master's degree. She has a completely paid off piece of major real estate. She holds all the economic cards. If a parasite like Zhang San tries to latch on, she has the ultimate fortress. She can literally just lock the door. She can hire a lawyer. Why on earth are we framing her as a victim waiting to happen?
Because a fortress without a commander is just an empty building waiting to be occupied.
Oh, wow.
You are equating financial boundaries with psychological boundaries, and they are not the same thing.
I see.
Having a massive safety net without any internal or external direction breeds a highly dangerous lack of psychological defense.
So because she doesn't know where she's going, she doesn't know what she's supposed to be protecting against.
Exactly. Her comfort has neutralized her instincts. She doesn't have the friction of daily survival to keep her radar sharp.
Right.
She is wandering around exploring in the dark. And when you are in the dark, you are incredibly susceptible to anyone who walks up to you with a flashlight,
Even if that flashlight is stolen.
even if it's stolen, and even if they're leading you straight off a cliff.
Which is exactly where Zhang San steps in.
Yes. The sweet talking parasite,
Oh,
045, is primed to be colonized by someone who brings a false sense of purpose.
right.
And the way a parasite like Zhang San bypasses her financial fortress is by employing tactics closely associated with narcissistic personality disorder, or NPD.
Oh, so he's actively manipulating her psychological blind spots.
Yes, he uses mirroring. He figures out what her blank life map is missing. Maybe it's validation. Maybe it's the illusion of a driven partner. And he reflects that back to her. He love bombs her to bypass the locked doors.
He manufactures a narrative of momentum, so she lets him into the fortress.
Exactly.
It's a toxic symbiosis. He needs a host to survive, and she needs a navigator to feel alive.
But maintaining that illusion has to be exhausting.
Oh, completely. If you are faking your entire trajectory, there's a profound cost to your mental bandwidth. And there's this brilliant quote from the source material that captures this dynamic perfectly.
Let's hear it.
It says, "It's not that you aren't working hard, it's that your big decisions are constantly interrupted by small bills."
Small bills. It is the perfect metaphor for the mechanics of parasitic survival.
Let's really break down what that means, because these aren't literal electricity or water bills.
Oh, not at all.
For someone like Zhang San, these small bills are his daily parasitic anxieties. Let's hypothesize a Tuesday in his life.
Yeah.
He wakes up in 045's paid off house. His immediate thought isn't about building a career. It's, how do I casually dodge paying for dinner tonight without looking broke?
Right.
Or how do I manipulate this conversation so she doesn't ask for details about my non-existent tech job?
Yeah.
Or did she notice the inconsistency in that story I told her last week about my family?
It is the cognitive tax of living a continuous lie.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Think about the pure irony of his life. Zhang San probably looks in the mirror and thinks he's an absolute mastermind.
I'm sure he does.
He thinks he's hacked the system. He's living in a premium apartment for free, getting his meals covered, entirely manipulating the board. But in reality, his brain is completely redlined, just surviving from breakfast to dinner.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this is the ultimate tragedy of parasitic survival.
Right.
When you are constantly negotiating small, deceptive survival bills, you literally consume your own future. You are eating your own potential.
Because there is zero bandwidth left for actual strategy.
Exactly.
You can't make a 5-year plan when your prefrontal cortex is jammed up trying to cover up yesterday's lie just to secure tomorrow's lunch.
No, you can't.
The parasite is permanently locked into playing a short game. They are constantly dodging immediate threats, which means they can never actually build anything of lasting value. Their entire existence is reactive.
They mistake surviving the day for building a life.
Yes. Which brings us to the ultimate question of this entire deep dive.
Okay.
If having a safety net makes you either a desperate, short-sighted parasite or a numb, directionless target, how do we escape this binary?
Right. What is the alternative to the net?
Exactly. And this leads us to the third profile. Let's call them the creator.
The creator represents the pure mechanics of upward momentum, generated entirely from within.
The creator's reality is starkly different from the first two. They have absolutely no safety net. There are no parents standing by to catch them if they stumble. There's no paid-off house waiting in the city. There are no grandparents covering the life path.
Right.
If they fall, there is no woven mesh over the sawdust. They hit the floor hard.
Yet, despite that terrifying lack of a net, they possess immense upward momentum
Yeah.
because they aren't waiting for a host and they aren't waiting for a navigator. They are lifting themselves.
Let's talk about how they actually do that because it's not just, working hard. The creator is taking highly strategic, massive action. They are utilizing AI to make videos and content. They are working late into the night, organizing massive chains of evidence and outputting highly structured work.
Yes.
But here's the fascinating part. They are also spending time deeply deconstructing NPD, narcissistic personality disorder.
Right.
The exact psychological profile of the parasite we just talked about.
And that is not a coincidence. That is a survival mechanism.
Right. I see it as building a cognitive firewall. They aren't just studying psychology for fun, they are studying the parasite to build immunity.
Because when you don't have a financial fortress like 045, you cannot afford to let a parasite in.
Wow. Yeah.
You don't have the luxury of being numb. You have to develop flawless radar.
Right. You have to.
The creator deconstructs the tactics of manipulation, the mirroring, the love bombing, the manufactured crises, so they can spot a Zhang San from a mile away.
That makes so much sense.
045 has a house, but her radar is broken. The creator has no house, but their radar is absolute perfection.
They see the matrix of human behavior. And their big decision, unlike Zhang San dodging small bills, is to establish their own self-sustaining system.
Yes.
They are building a content empire, a business, a brand. They are building a fortress out of their own intellect and perseverance. So what does this all mean?
Well, this is the fundamental difference between consuming your future and investing in it.
Okay.
Zhang San spends all his cognitive energy dodging today's small bills, burning his future just to survive the afternoon.
Right.
The creator is doing the exact opposite. Yes, the lack of a safety net is terrifying. Yes, the late nights are physically and mentally draining.
Oh, absolutely.
But every single late night, every AI video produced, every piece of structured content released is an investment. It compounds over time.
The creator might feel like they're just fighting off the parasites of the world, grinding day by day to stay above water.
Yeah.
But through that very process of resistance and creation, they are methodically paving a massive road. They are generating undeniable upward momentum.
Exactly.
They don't need to parasitize anyone to survive because they have made themselves inherently valuable to the marketplace.
They became their own safety net by building their own ladder.
That is such a powerful way to put it. It fundamentally reframes the struggle. It means that the friction you feel, the stress, the exhaustion, the pressure, it isn't a sign that you are failing or that you are vulnerable.
Not at all.
The friction is the physical proof that you are moving upward.
The empowering truth here is that if you are putting in those late nights, building your systems, and relying on your own intellect, your mission isn't to finally find someone to lift you.
Right.
Your mission is simply to continue doing exactly what you are already doing. The engine is already built. You just have to keep feeding it fuel.
You do not need someone to lift you up if you are already lifting yourself.
Precisely.
So as you are listening to this right now, I want you to genuinely ask yourself, which mindset are you operating in today?
It's a tough question.
It is. Are you sitting around waiting for a safety net? Are your big life decisions being constantly interrupted by small bills? Those daily anxieties, the office politics, the minor social deceptions. Are you consuming your future to get through the week? Or are you actively investing in it?
It requires a brutal audit of your own daily bandwidth.
It really does. And I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on, something that takes this entire framework to the next logical step.
Okay.
We spent this entire time dissecting how lacking a safety net forces the creator to build this incredible self-sustaining momentum. But what happens when the creator ultimately succeeds?
That is the generational trap.
Exactly. The creator builds the empire, they acquire the wealth, they gain the security, and then out of love, what do they do for their children?
They buy them a house.
They buy them a house, they make sure they never have to face the friction of the floor, they weave a massive, comfortable safety net for the next generation.
And in doing so, they strip away the very friction that created their own greatness.
Do they inevitably become the enablers, dooming their own kids to become either a numb, directionless 045 or worse, a parasitic Zhang San looking for a host?
It's a terrifying thought.
How do you pass on the momentum, the fire, the drive, without accidentally passing on a trap? I mean, is it even possible to give someone the gift of upward momentum if you remove the sheer terror of the fall?
A fascinating problem that every successful creator will eventually have to face.
Definitely something to think about as you build your own systems today. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been great.
We unpacked some heavy psychological mechanics today, but hopefully you're walking away with a clearer understanding of your own momentum. Keep building, keep creating, and remember to look closely at what's really catching you and what's actually pushing you forward. Take care, everyone.